Welcome one, welcome all to episode 180 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, June 3rd, 2023. I am your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logan. And in this episode, we discuss our time with both Street Fighter VI and Diablo IV. We'll take a look back at last year's Xbox showcase and drop a few hopes and predictions for this year, which is not too far away. As always, we hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm good. It's a good week to be a gamer. It's a good month to be a gamer.
Yeah.
We have no shortage of things to do in the last month that we've been playing games. So it's almost been too much. It's almost been like, all right, guys, could you slow down? The hits are good, but can we what are we doing for like July? Can we just chill for a little bit?
Dude, we had so many releases. We had a lot of things happen in a short window of time. We had last week's episode. It was real good. We've been playing Street Fighter VI for review. And then this week, of course, Diablo IV drops in its final form, I guess you would say, for release, right? Because the review codes, we did not get an early review code for that one.
Yeah.
But we saw so many of our people in our community playing it early for coverage and stuff. And shout out to Ainsley Bowden, fantastic review, the most monotone you'll ever hear, but it's so thorough and so good. His review's doing super well for SG. We had a good cast co-op discussion about it. And then, this month, of course, Summer Game Fest right around the corner. The Xbox showcase last week was PlayStation showcase. The Witcher Season 3 is out this month, at the end of this month. There's so much nerd stuff happening that I am just in heaven right now. So it feels good, man. It feels good.
It's kind of sneaking up on me that next week is Summer Games Fest and the Xbox showcase. Like I'm a little nervous because it's just now starting to sink in. It's like, oh God, we've got a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, and next week's going to be odd. We might do that one a day early because the show is on Sunday, which is, maybe we'll do it a day after. Maybe we'll do it a day later or something. But the showcase, we're going to be streaming with the PlayStation Trophy Room on their live stream channels. So check out the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we'll do our show a day later or something. We'll find a way to do like our review or whatnot, maybe a day, 2 days later or something like that. But we're going to live stream with the Trophy Room. So follow PS Trophy Room on Twitter. Go to their YouTube channel, PlayStation Trophy Room Podcast, the Trophy Room of PlayStation Podcast. Joseph Moran, Kyle Stevenson, they do great stuff. And they're our buddies anyway, so that's always fun. Yeah, man. Well, tell me your words of kindness, bud. What you got going?
So I wanted to, so this is going to be a little different than usual because normally I like to shout out someone that kind of made my gaming week better, but I want to use this opportunity to kind of shout out a few people who've had a rougher week than everyone else. Everyone else has been having a good time playing video games and stuff, but so Milestone Pierre over on Xbox Chatterdays over IGN and Windows Game Central got some bad news yesterday. Which was a shame to see. I don't know what the details are. It's not my place to say it. But I just wanted to call them out. Lord Cognito from Iron Lords Gaming, fantastic dude. He received some bad news this week as well too. And then Marcus O'Neill had to take Miles in for some breathing issues related to COVID. And they're just being troopers. I see them. They're still posting on Twitter. They're still staying optimistic. They're making the changes. They're dealing with the issues that they have to. But regardless of what their life is like right now and the stress that they're dealing with right now, they're continuing to be those people in the community that are the luminaries. The people that are just positive, looking to try and bring good conversation to the gaming center on Twitter, at least in their own communities as well too. So I just want to call them out because everyone has bad weeks and it's okay to regress and kind of, take care of yourself first in those times. But I'm still seeing them out there trying to play games, trying to be part of the community in the zeitgeist and trying to stay involved.
That's good, man. I echo a lot of that sentiment. Those guys are good people. I really love. I have a closer relationship with Cog and Miles. I guess you would say, like, I know them. We talk.
Yeah,
I don't know Miles too or
Marcus.
Marcus
Yeah,
O'Neill very well, but always a nice, positive person in the community. So yeah, love to them. I think Cog's doing better. Got a plan for recovery, which is great. And again,
good.
still out there making content. I think I'm going to do ILP the day that this is out. I'll have been on ILP for
Yeah,
Xbox predictions and whatnot. But Cog and Miles, good people. I know them well. And then of course, love to Marcus O'Neill as well because he's just a good dude.
good
Yeah, man.
supporter out there.
Yeah, wonderful supporter. And that's really what makes a good community is just people that are kind. They don't have to watch and listen to everything you make. That's not
Mhm.
realistic either in a world of content creation, right? Um,
Yeah,
and you don't have to get to stuff right away. But just being kind and supportive, sharing, liking, being just present when you can be present is cool. Um, so yeah,
yeah, I
uh,
really appreciate that. What about
yeah.
you?
I shout out my friend Demo, because
Mm.
I much love to Miles and Marcus and Cog again, but my friend Demo is in the fighting game community. He even had a mini documentary about him at one point a few years back.
Oh,
I love
nice.
Demo, but he gave me some good advice about which fight stick and some good advice about content creators to follow if I'm getting back into fighting games because I was lapsed. I was really hard into Street Fighter 4 and 3 and 2.
Yeah.
I love Street Fighter. But I took a break from fighting games apart from casual play of Injustice and Mortal Kombat because I
Mhm.
love them, but I didn't like get into them. But now that I'm back in, I wanted some people to follow, and Demo was just a great person to reach out to. I don't think Demo listens to the show, but it means a lot that I can reach out to somebody who I met over a decade ago. He worked at GameStop when I was in college,
Oh, cool.
and just chatted him up, and then just through the years been Facebook friends, which is kind of what you want, right? Like just good people, being cool, being
Yeah,
good people. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I got my fighting stick. I just cracked it open this morning. Put together a fun little dumb YouTube short with it, but I'm liking it so far. It feels good to kind of have a fight stick again.
Yeah,
Uh, but it's gonna be a while. I
you're
gotta,
committed.
yeah, let's take some practice. I'll tell you that. I was like, oh, I'm
Oh, I'm
getting
sure.
stomped online, but I expected that. So you know,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, man. So let's see. Last week oh wait, no, we need to do our Patreon shout outs. How
Yeah.
dare I almost skip them?
How
Goodness
dare you?
gracious, how dare.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Guys, you can always support the show by going to iTunes and dropping a review. We're at 97 American reviews, almost to 100, which is cool. You go
Nice.
to Spotify, dropping reviews there. YouTube, clicking like makes a big difference. Sharing means all the world. And then if you're inclined and you want to drop a tip in the tip jar, patreon.com/Xbox expansion pass. Goodness knows that has grown more than I ever expected. And I'm so grateful to all of you. And each week, of course, we do shout outs to our tier 2 and 3 patrons. For the life of me, though, Logan, I can't remember if it's my week or yours to read.
I was hoping you were going to remember this because I was actually trying to remember this like as we were going in today, and I was like, I actually don't know like which one of us was the one that did it last week.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Uh, well, I tell you what, I'll read this week
Okay.
because and you do our dubbing as we so often do, which is fun for me. All right. These people have been so kind as to drop a tip in the tip jar for tier 2 and 3 shout outs. We are one away from our double down goal on tier 3, by the way, Logan.
I
Yikes.
know.
One away, and then I got to eat a double down for tier 3, which is scary. All right. So let's give these people some love. Robbie Bobby Miller, Silent Cipher, Xbox Skittle, Hafrican, aka Charles Jones, Game Positive, Zach LeCoulter, Jam Pack Sam, Matt Valdez, Neo Prime 33, Rick Davis, Red Beast, Xbox Mike 29, Matt Without Fear, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, Sony's VP of Marketing Kevin Butler, Clint Coombs, DJ Hero, and Dano12. Thank you guys for being supporters of XEP at tier 2 and tier 3. I hope you're enjoying Creator Talk. I had one go out with Miles Dompierre not too long ago, which was darn cool. And I hope you enjoy the Xbox wrap up. We just did an episode, Logan, for our like that's not public. And we talked about what exactly expectations of Xbox IP. Was that it? No, that
No.
was
What did we talk about last week?
man. We're all over the place. We stayed up too late playing Diablo.
I really did. I'm not gonna
We
lie.
both did. Yeah.
I was up late. So okay. Full disclosure, I went out last night with my wife. We did a double date, and we went to the
Oh.
park to go watch a movie. And in the movie that they were showing was a 2010 Scooby Doo home made for home video.
Okay.
And so that kept me up. But and funny enough, the whole video was like in 4:3 aspect ratio, and for whatever reason, they couldn't figure out the color for it. So they're trying to fix the color throughout the whole night, and the whole film was like overlaid with just complete green. So I sat through an hour and 20-minute movie of green Scooby Doo, and everything was green. It was just like they just didn't have any color outside of green.
Mm.
But then I came home and I was like, all right, well, I want to make sure that I have a fresh memory
Mm-hmm.
of the Xbox 2022 showcase, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
sat down and watched through the entire showcase, took notes, made comments, thought of like what I wanted. And so like everything in my brain right now is either Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, or the Xbox showcase. And I've had to like push everything out of my memory regarding like what the Xbox wrap up was. So and I know we
Oh,
did it.
we did Game Pass recommendations.
Oh, that's right. We
That's what it
did.
was. Because we did
Okay.
we pushed live our top 8 Xbox IP,
Yeah.
and franchise. We pushed that live for everybody, for non-patrons, because that was a month ago's episode, or 2
Yeah.
months ago episode. When we drop the next one to go live for non-patrons will be the ranking, or our favorite Star Wars games. But we just recorded the best Game Pass recommendations, which was fun.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a really good one.
We
If you're a
went
tier
long on
3,
that too.
we did. Yeah. If you're tier 3 and you haven't checked it out, check it out. And then that'll go live for non-patrons in 2 months, a month and a half. Months, I don't know. It's weird. I got a schedule somewhere. But basically it goes out
Yeah.
for non-patrons eventually.
Yeah.
So there's a cadence to it. But yeah, man, that was fun. And the top 8 Xbox franchises, we got some fun feedback on that one. People were real mad about some stuff, totally agreed on others. That was a good time. So yeah.
That's the beauty of opinions. Everyone's got one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They're like armpits. Everyone's got one in
You
the all
going there?
seats.
Okay. All right.
Ooh,
All right.
family friendly.
I
Easy.
wondered where you're going to go with that. It's like, I could make that joke, but I know you don't want to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. Well, look here. We've got a lot to break down. I want to talk about the Xbox Showcase. I want to talk about Street Fighter. I want to talk
Yeah.
about Diablo.
Diablo.
So
Which,
let's
no Kane anymore. God,
back
it's so
on
weird.
Kane. Yeah. It was a little fun. But I will tell you what, man. We've been having fun with both Street Fighter 6 and Diablo, which is pretty darn cool to get two like top tier caliber games dropping within days of each other. And they're so separate in terms of genre that it's one, the other, or both, but they're not competing. You know what I mean? Like you're not seeing around. You can just enjoy, and that's really fun. Hi, sweet girl. My puppy's right at my feet wanting more banana.
Aw.
So yeah, she's being a sweetheart.
I locked my babies out because they make loud noises.
My wife's been out of town 2 weekends in a row.
How
Taking
dare
care of her
she?
mama. Yeah, I'm real suffering here. Love you, honey. But because of that, I'm keeping the dog with me as much as possible. So I've been actually playing on my Series S a lot downstairs.
Yeah.
And that's been a blast, by the way, too.
It's a good little boy.
It's such a good system. And there is something to be said, man. If I log off up here and then 2 minutes later I'm downstairs, my save is there, all the progress, there's not a thing lost. Just there in the cloud.
It just works. It's
It
so
just
nice.
Yeah.
We were talking about that because I do the same thing. Like we were given a code for Street Fighter and for Xbox and for Diablo 4. So both my Xboxes have it installed. So I've got the one that's behind this monitor here that I use for capture. And then I've got my other one that's in the living room that's actually tied to like the nice TV. And just being able to like just seamlessly go between the two, man. Like I get it. I had to download like 70 gigs worth of vid game on 2 consoles and stuff. But man, just being able to like pick it up and go between the two, like it's almost in that territory of like as easy as having a Switch dock in every room. on
Yeah,
your TV. It's like almost that easy. But it's so nice. Like shout out to Xbox for thinking about that kind of stuff. They're like, you know what? We're gonna sell the cheap system. They're probably gonna want to have like multiple consoles in the house. And if they do that,
mhm.
let's make it like super easy for them to be able to go from one to the other.
It's funny because the beginning of the generation, they were touting, a number of things: smart delivery,
Yeah.
cloud saves, easy transitions between stuff, and all of those things are fantastic. Underappreciated, under-discussed, I think, but they just work. Smart
Yeah.
delivery struggled a little bit at the gate. No, smart delivery did not. It was quick resume that
Quick
struggled.
resume.
Quick
Yeah.
resume struggled, but
Little bit.
a little bit, and even then, like, devs figured it out. If your game is online all the time, quick resume has some problems, but for single player
Yeah.
stuff, it's cakewalk, man. I used it constantly in Jedi Survivor. Um, but man, it's funny just how much that stuff works,
Yeah.
underappreciated in our community. So shout out to Xbox for that. I will say that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't get to really talk too much about that, but definitely like there's instances where I recognize like, man, having quick resume for Jedi after I've been playing Destiny 2 or something is so nice to just be able to drop right back into the open world where I was and not have to think like, oh, where was the little save point? I needed to make sure I had to go to the meditation place to make sure I saved it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
it's so fantastic.
Agreed. Well, as you said, we got codes for both Diablo and Street Fighter 6. We played Street Fighter 6 quite a bit before launch, and I want to talk about that first, if you don't mind. I
Oh yeah.
got to tell you, man, Street Fighter 6 is just incredible. I
Yeah.
love this game. I I think it's without exaggeration, I think this is the best Street Fighter has ever been, which is a really high bar because I was deep in on Street Fighter 4, which I think by its end state was just incredible. But
Yeah.
it went through some growing pains as it went from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 4 Arcade, Super Street Fighter 4, and then there was like a final like Ultimate or Ultra Street Fighter 4.
Mhm.
But that was the Xbox 360 PS3 era where updating a game was a little bit different, right? You get DLC, you had costumes, you had characters, but updating was different.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, man, Street Fighter 6, this is everything I want from a Street Fighter game, and it's got something for every type of player that is interested in this one, I think. What do you think?
I think it's probably one of the best Street Fighter games I've ever played. Like I'm not a huge fighter person in general. Like I can play a little bit, but I'm definitely gonna get my butt handed to me in most instances.
Mhm,
But this game, like it feels really good. Like
mhm,
I've been loving the modern controls. It feels like I can play and adapt. The combos are a lot tougher for me, but you know,
mhm,
I can still pull off most of the special moves. I can pull off a lot of the you know, there's a kit that each character has, and each
mhm,
character's kit is designed for a certain play style. And playing through those different characters is really fun. But just overall, I would say like it's great for one to see Street Fighter multi-console.
mhm.
That has been something that's been lacking for a long time,
Yep.
you can tell like a lot of Xbox fans are jumping in and having a good time with it. I think they've done some really interesting things with this installment
Mhm,
that I want to see them iterate further on. I don't want
mhm.
them to drop these type of things that we'll probably dive into, but overall, I gotta say, like the accolades are strong for this. I think they're justified.
Mhm. I think, and I want to be really clear for anyone that's listening and you're not a fighting game person, Street Fighter 6 has this wonderful balance of approachability and accessibility for
Yeah,
anyone that is not competitive, that is not interested in ranked play or any of that. There are a ton of systems in place where you can have a blast, play with your friends. You can be with your friends on the couch, pick a different control scheme, and play against the best of the best and still have a competitive element to it. Or just a casual one. And then for those of you that are hardcore, and really love, competitive fighting, frame rates, battling, against the best of the best. There's a lot of that in place to help you for ranked play and for more competitive elements. I think it walks the line really well. And wherever you are in your fighting game or Street Fighter journey, it accommodates you far better than any other Street Fighter has before.
Oh
I
yeah.
think it does that with. Let's start with the control schemes. I think that's a great place to start there, Logan.
Yeah.
The game gives you three control schemes out the gate. Classic, which is built for Street Fighter veterans. You've got your light, medium, and heavy kick, light, medium, heavy punch, and then combinations of that will do different things. And to me, that's the 6 button approach is the way to go. I'm a classic Street Fighter player,
Mhm.
but it does something special with modern and dynamic control schemes that allow the casual fan, the fan that needs the accessibility, or someone that's just, not done it before, I think an approachability. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, the modern control scheme is where I come in.
Mhm,
Like I like having light, medium, heavy, and special. I've
mhm,
got my drive systems there, I've got my blocks, but everything is attuned to the idea. It's like I don't want to have to worry about pressing the wrong button on a controller
mhm,
when I'm trying to do a specific move.
mhm,
So that's where special comes in. And I love that I can just do back in special, and I'll do a special move, or I'll do
mhm,
up in special, or it's just one or two directions and the special button, and
mhm,
that's got me covered. And then there's the what I like to call the little brother mode, which is
mhm,
dynamic.
mhm,
So those of you who have little brothers or little sisters that you want to play with you, you can give them the dynamic mode, which is you could probably call it like an accessibility feature. You could call it a button masher mode if you really want to, but
mhm,
realistically, like this is for the give it to your sibling, have them play with you. And dynamic mode is going to make it so that all of the moves are the best moves that they can give you for the situation that you're in. So if you are getting attacked from an aerial high kick or something like that, like it will pick the move that would best be suited to counter that. Now it's not going to like be the ultimate way to kind of like beat someone, like it's not going to always be able to do that, but it will try and pick the best move. So if you're going towards someone and you want to do a special move, you can do a special move. It just kind of depends on the situation that you're playing in, but it effectively pulls everything down into moves and one button. And I really like that.
It allows the player, whoever's using the dynamic control scheme, and I would argue even the modern control scheme, it allows them to feel like they are a Street Fighter and a veteran of the
Yeah.
series. It allows them to do and pull off those amazing combos. It allows them to pull off those really cool flashy moves where your character is, glowing or doing one of the fireball super approach, super
Yeah.
art rather, finishers. And that is exactly what you want because old hats like us, we remember being at the arcade or playing against somebody that's just so good and you're punching and kicking, maybe you get a Hadoken. Well, they're getting these background finishers, these fatalities, these ultimates in whatever fighting game you're playing. And it's like, yo, I'm not even on the same level. These control
Mhm.
schemes allow you to feel like you're on that level. Uh, and I think that's exactly what you want because it lets people enter into the world of really cool Street Fighter play. And that's
Yeah.
what I like a lot.
Yeah.
So,
They're pushing hard to make Street Fighter more accessible by allowing people to feel like they're having fun. And
mhm,
because if you're having fun, you're gonna keep playing the game.
right.
And when you come into a fighting game, you never want to feel like you didn't have the tools at your disposal to be able to win. You
Mhm,
always want to feel like you could have won if you had made one or two choices different. And
mhm,
when you don't know the move set, when you're not familiar with the control scheme,
mhm,
that can be very overwhelming.
mhm,
And dynamic really pulls that away and sets you up to be able to have fun with the gameplay. That's why I think it's great for like siblings and stuff, or folks that aren't keyed into like any of the move sets or any of the characters, have any understanding of Street Fighter, but they can drop in with dynamic mode and they can
mhm.
still have fun. And that at the heart of fighters is what really gets people into them.
I agree, and I think, it wasn't just the control schemes that they set up to let people test out the world of Street Fighter. That also came from the different hubs that you can enter into. which is a little intimidating at first, and I think it's a little overwhelming. And if you're I'll compare this to Call of Duty. In Call of Duty, you've got campaign mode, you've got multiplayer, you've got DMZ, you've got Warzone, and that's a lot to try and break down. Like, where do you want to begin your Call of Duty experience?
Yeah.
Right. Um, Street Fighter now has that same problem, but I don't think it's a big problem because in the three hubs, you've got Fighting Ground, which is your more traditional elements. You've got your arcade mode, your versus, you can set up special handicap matches, practice modes, casual, ranked, online, like an easy way to get online. That exists in the Fighting Ground mode. And so I think if you're in for a traditional Street Fighter experience, that's where you're headed. If you want a single player RPG street fighting experience, and it's a light open world RPG, but it exists there. That's called World Tour. And I liken World Tour mode to uh, games like 2K or Madden, where you've got to create a player, create a character, and you're sending them on a career to, get to the National Football League, get to, the top tier of FIFA, or get to the NBA team and be the starter, get those stats up. That is what World Tour is for Street Fighter. And I think that's really, really cool because you go around the world as this creative character, which is pretty diverse creative character. I know people like Ellery in our community.
Oh
They
man.
they love creative characters and crafting a story. This is where people like Ellery are going to have a blast, is in World Tour.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've
and
seen some pretty frightening things though.
yeah, it's scary. It's scary. And like the RE engine has its own perks and whatnot, but the art style that was chosen for Street Fighter is very buffed. Like, everybody's really toned,
Stonk.
but just, yeah, it's weird. It's a
Bunch of
weird art style.
trunks. A lot of
Yeah.
tree trunks and boulders walking around.
Yeah. And my first attempt at trying to create my face, because every game I play, I want it to be me,
Mm,
or as close to an approximation of me as I can get it.
mhm.
Um, uh, so that didn't go too well the first time I tried to make my character. But then you get in there and you've got a good set of moves to start with. Ironically, the
Mm,
first Street Fighter character you learn from is a character named Luke. Um, and then you go around this world, and then it's a city, and then you could travel the world learning from different Street Fighter mainstays, Chun-Li, Ryu, etc. And that's really fun
mhm.
if that's what you're there for. And I like it. There's something to it. I wasn't high on it at first. I think when we were talking pre-release, I wasn't really high on it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm going to spend much time here for me, but
Yeah.
it's a cool mode. And dude, some of the funniest things, you can walk up and just uppercut any citizen you want, from an old lady to a child,
Mhm.
and it starts a fight with them, and that's the funniest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so I've been playing World Tour. I'm not very hot on it, but also World Tour is probably the most they've stretched with a Street Fighter IP than they ever have before. Like, this is the first time that I've ever heard of any fighter really having like an open world game. Like, this is a Yakuza style game. Like, you're running around a town, there's people in it, you can interact with them. You have you have like characters that you like, random gang members, and for some reason all the gang members have boxes on their heads, and that's the best way to
Yeah.
hide their identity. And I'm just like, oh, that's so cheesy. It feels like it's straight out of a Yakuza game.
Like a poor man's Yakuza, poor man's Shenmue, for sure.
Yeah, you can see the DNA there, like, you
Mhm.
really can. And that's fine. That's, that's, it's a very quintessential thing that I see in a lot of Japanese based games when it comes to open world cities and stuff. I see it in a lot of
Mhm.
JRPGs as well, that are like third person games that live in worlds. I
Mhm.
think I can't remember the name of it, but it came out, I think it was last year or the year before. It was like Code something. I can't remember what it was, but it
Code Vein?
felt Code Vein. Yeah, Code
Mhm.
Vein felt very similar as far as like, what it's like to run around in an open world in these games.
Mhm.
So the problem that I had with it really was, this felt like a smaller team was pulled to work on it. Like, this was their passion project,
Mhm.
and they wanted to make a Street Fighter game, but they wanted a Street Fighter game to be an open world RPG.
Mhm.
And Capcom indulged them and said, "Hey, that's fine, but our main team's going to be working on Battle Hub and World and Fighting Grounds,
Mhm.
and we can have the World Tour, but it's not going to be the main driver of the game." And you can tell because the polish is just not there.
Mhm.
There's a lot of issues that I had with lighting. There's a lot of issues that I had with texture works. Like if you run around in the world, it feels closer to something that, and I hate to say it, but something that Game Freak would put out for one of their Pokemon games
Mhm.
on the Switch. I think they could have done so much better. Looking at like what Capcom can do with the RE engine for
Mhm.
Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil Village, like you can do really amazing stuff environmentally
Mhm.
with that engine. And I just don't think that they had the time to, or the number of people to really do that, to really flesh it out. But I
Yeah.
hope they continue with it. I hope they push it onto it. I the weirdest thing was when the first time you go out of the city, you get flight tickets and you
Mhm.
fly off to Greece, and
Mhm.
you go and you fight Marissa Snoo Snoo. And when you fight her, you're in a coliseum where she's like fighting like a lion and stuff like that, and it's a tough fight. But the whole point you're there is because you talk to a counterfeiter in city who's trying to remake a bag that the partner that you ran into who like is doing their own like dark path in the
Mhm.
RPG. And it is like a Pokemon, like you're Ash and Gary is out doing his own thing. Well, Gary stole a bag and now you're trying to get a counterfeit created, and you have to fly to Greece to fight Marissa Snoo Snoo to be able to get like a piece of authentic designery
Yeah.
jewelry that is going to, and I'm like, I get that I need to go there to go fight her because it's part of the experience of being in an open world, but I didn't get to learn how to master her move set. I didn't, and it was just, and then I was right back in the city, and I was like, well, I
Yeah.
didn't really get to live in Greece. I didn't get to do anything. I got one fight there, and that was it.
Yeah, it's not for that, right? Like it's
No,
meant to be silly and dumb and again, I think you're on when we feel like it's the second team, but I don't want to paint a picture like it's a bad experience. It's not a bad experience. It's just that that's not
it's
where I
the
think the
lesser.
majority of Street Fighter fans are going to play,
Yeah.
which is Battle Hub and World Tour.
I think or Fighting Grounds, I think, is going to be where, or Battle Hub is amazing. I love Battle Hub. Battle Hub is the
Really?
closest thing. I do. Yeah, I think it's the closest thing to like an old school
Mhm.
uh arcade that I've seen in a game.
Mhm.
Like, and legit, like watching people go into the little because when you're in the Battle Hub, it's a circular arena. There's a shop you can go buy things at, but there's little arcades, like little sit down arcades that are the traditional Japanese style or fighting arcades, where it's two monitors back to back, and you sit across from each other and you play against the person that you're sitting down with. Both people have to consensually sit at the chair. There's no strong arming people into fights in there, which is nice. And you play through a regular match online, and
Mhm.
that's all it is. It's just you sit there. But then they have a little arena down in the bottom where if you have your character, you've been playing through the open RPG, you
Mhm.
have a bunch of health, you have a specific move set, and you get to play as your character, and
Mhm.
getting to watch people with these massive life bars go head to head down in the battle arena. Like, first off, I knew I was like, I'm not the right person to be jumping into these. I should be jumping into the regular matches with characters that are presets,
Mhm.
with the drives and stuff. But it was so cool to see, like, you can kind of like tout how much you've put into the game
Mhm.
in the open world RPG, because in that arena you get to fight other people, and you don't know, like, how much health do they have, how long have they been playing, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And that really does kind of factor in. So like if you've been grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, like you can show that off, and you can show it through your character, and that's so cool. It's such a unique thing. It's like being able to play through the campaign of Pokemon, but then going into the same area and being able to use your specific Pokemon to fight against other people's Pokemon and stuff. It's such a cool idea. I love that. And it really does kind of build in that community, that desire to sit in an area with other people who are enjoying the game
Mhm.
and really just live in that fighting community. So,
I uh I think the best part about the Battle Hub is that it calls back to the old arcade days. Uh,
mhm.
but it's an option. If that's not where you want to get
Yes.
your online play, you can still go the more traditional route, and you can play in the fighting ground, just quick online, and there you go. And that to me is a great thing. Um,
That's true.
and this has something for everybody. This is a game that I think everybody should try if you have even the slightest interest. If you're on the fence, I say get this game. If you are on
Yeah.
the fence, because there is something here for you to enjoy. If you're not a fighting game fan at all, yeah, it's not for you. But if you're on the fence and you're interested, and this is the year to be interested in fighting games, because you got Mortal Kombat 1 coming down the way. All the old fighting games have been on great sales. I got Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate for $8, and I'd already had the base game, but to get all that DLC was fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of enjoyment to be had here. So I'd say give it a go, guys. Anybody that's on the fence, this game is beautiful and fun. I really like the RE engine on display in fights. I think it does a really good job. Um, this engine, I think, is special and really cool. We've seen Capcom make great use of it across the board. Capcom has not missed at all
No.
lately, and I'm in for it, and I'm stoked for Exoprimal when that game comes out. Uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
I strongly recommend Street Fighter 6, whether you're casual or hardcore. This has got something for you for sure.
This is the second Capcom. No, this is the third Capcom game that I think that's come out this year out of the four that I think we know about, because we had Monster Hunter Rise come to
Mhm.
Game Pass. We had Resident Evil 4 remake. We've got Street Fighter 6 now, and we've got Exo Primal coming out in July. They have had so much content come out, and they still put out regular content on outside of this year. Like, it wasn't too long ago we were just absolutely in love with Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil Village, and then finding out that that wasn't even the best part of Resident Evil Village. And we've got the VR experience coming for Resident Evil 4 soon.
Mhm.
They're just firing on all cylinders. I'm seeing them as an equivalent to Insomniac right now. Like, they
Wow.
are putting out content on such a fast pace. I don't know how they're able to have so many teams working on all of these different projects and have all of those projects still be very, very good projects. Small sides in Street Fighter 6 that I think I don't resonate with, or I think could be better. Resident Evil 6 is probably one of the best fighters this year.
Mhm.
We'll have to see how it kind of goes up against Mortal Kombat 1, because I think Mortal Kombat 1 is going to be a real departure from what we are expecting.
Mhm.
And I'm very excited about that, because I think the team that is working on it, I think that team, that NetherRealm is really, really excited to kind of showcase this, because I think they're going to be able to do something that I think that they wanted to do, but weren't sure how the community was going to respond to it. So it'll be very interesting to see Street Fighter Mortal Kombat, man.
Well, regardless of how good or not good Mortal Kombat 1 is, this is a great game. Street Fighter
Yeah,
6 is. And that's cool. Regardless of
that's
your
true.
preference, regardless if you're diehard Mortal Kombat or not, like you could pick up either one and
Mm,
expect quality, but Street Fighter 6 did not miss. Now, a couple things we didn't talk about is the drive system. That's very deep and in
mm,
depth for people that are interested. I don't think we need to go there for this particular audience, but it's cool.
yeah,
At me on Twitter if you guys want to chat about it, because I have some cool thoughts on it. The roster, I think you start with 18 players, a mix of old and new fighters, which is cool. We do know they're doing a fighter pass. For me, my main was Akuma in Street Fighter 4. Didn't launch
yeah,
with Akuma, but that's logically makes sense. Everyone's going to buy it. They know you are. That's coming in this year's fighter pass. I think Street Fighter 6 really needs to make sure they get their cadence of new fighters down pat, because Mortal Kombat is coming for them, Tekken is coming for them. So I hope that Capcom keeps with their respectable trend of doing right by their customer,
yeah,
because 18 characters is nothing to slide about, and I've played with at least 6 of them at this point. And the
yeah.
roster is good and diverse, but new fighters are important. Guest fighters are important to Mortal Kombat. We'll see what Street Fighter does or doesn't do with that. I would expect some characters from Final Fight, maybe a Tekken crossover again,
Mm,
even with the new game coming, because they've done that before.
mm.
But um,
Bold
I,
claim.
I I don't think it's as bold as we would think. because there have been multiple Street Fighter cross seconds. That's a different topic. But the part that I want to also say for any listener is this game is going to have a battle pass, and it's going to have cosmetics and microtransactions. That's not something we experienced during our review. I saw them there. I saw the credit systems there. I don't know how that's going to be treated. That'll take time to really flesh out. It looked like a lot, and that does worry me a little bit. But I didn't get to experience that in our review process. So
Yeah.
while I still say this is bang for your buck, pound for pound, dollar for dollar, get this game, that is something to be wary of if you're planning to explore that realm of cosmetics.
Yeah. I think this is a good game without it.
Yep.
I think what this will do will be to give diehards a way to expand upon their what they want in the system,
Mm-hmm.
and give a backbone to the game for future development.
Yep.
Which is realistically, like, we'll be talking about Diablo 4. I think that's the same approach. Like Diablo 4 without the battle pass system, without the cosmetics, is
Mm-hmm.
a fantastic game, 100% worth the purchase.
Mm-hmm.
You do not need any of that stuff for it to be a
Right.
good game.
To close out our Street Fighter, we are not the only ones recommending this one critically. It did extremely well. IGN gave it a 9, Game Informer a 9.5, Gaming Trend 9.5, GameSpot 9, VGC 5 out of 5, Noisy Pixel 10, Gaming Nexus 10, Inverse 10, 6 Axis 10. I think Seasoned Gaming also gave it a 10, which is very rare for them. Open Critic sits at 91, Metacritic 92, Street Fighter 6 knocked it out the park, which is fantastic. So if our words weren't enough to sway you, know that we're not in the minority in enthusiasts, nor in the minority among journalists. So that's kind of cool. So
Very fun to see, like, when everyone's enjoying games. That's for sure.
agreed. And you alluded to it, and I think it's a great time to transition to. Everyone seems to be enjoying Diablo 4 as well.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to be loving Diablo 4, which is amazing.
Oh my god.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so history lesson. Diablo came out in 97. I've been playing it since 97. I love the Diablo franchise. I love the world. It is gothic horror, but with hack and slash abilities. It is an ARPG, isometric. It's not going to be for everyone. But if you know you enjoy kind of just mindless grinding through monsters that feels impactful, Diablo is exactly that. It is what created that, in my opinion. Diablo 4 is out, man. It is a game that I've been waiting for since, BlizzCon 2019 when it
Mm-hmm.
was announced. I was there. It got to meet devs. I got to walk through the halls of their artwork, which is amazing because so much of it is inspired by Braum, who's a fantastic artist from the 90s. He's still putting amazing work out there.
Mm-hmm.
But this is probably the most ambitious Diablo game that has ever come out. This is their first open world. Most of the games always have like acts, and the first one is just a matter of going into a cathedral and then going lower and lower into the cathedral till you got to hell. This one is like the first open world experience. It's the first shared world experience. There's huge world bosses. There's 5 different zones. There's player versus player content, which was not something that we got in 3, which was disappointing because it was always promised. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's amazing. There's dungeons in there. There's over 120 dungeons. Each of the dungeons feels like a traditional Diablo 2 level where you've got like a couple different areas you have to go explore. It is one of those things where you're literally walking through every corner to try and smash and grab every little bit of loot. You teleport back to town. You scrap it all or you sell it all. You start working on building up your gear. You start getting ability points. The builds for this are so deep.
Well, slow down.
Okay.
So I want to, because you're going in
Ugh.
multiple directions. So I want to prep for listeners that are not Diablo fans. Much like Street Fighter, This is a Diablo game that is built to accommodate new people and satisfy and ingratiate longtime veterans,
Hmm.
which is cool because I am a very casual fan. Whereas Logan could wax poetic for hours, I log in because my buddy Kev wanted to play, because my buddy Logan wanted to play, because Joe wanted to play. That's why I was interested. Because like they want to play. And as a non-Diablo fan, I'm having fun. It's a number chaser if you want
Good.
it to be, which means you just kill things to make your character stronger. A lot of ways to explore your skill trees, a lot of character types. And then if you are there for the story, which I know a couple people in our community for XEP are just story people. They like to create their own story as well as exist in the world created. That's there for you too. But it's a top-down ARPG that is just it's got everything for you. And I think
Hmm.
that's the part I wanted to touch on before you went too far into the weeds
Oh
is
yeah, no, I can.
no matter who you are, you can enjoy Diablo 4 and that is cool.
Yeah.
That's
And
the part.
you don't need to know anything about Diablo beforehand.
Yeah.
This is a very fresh story. It is steeped in all of the history that is Diablo, but it's focusing on a brand new antagonist. It's got all of the cinematics that you would love from a Blizzard title. It's very beautiful. They've done a great job with telling the story.
Those cinematics, man, they're on another level. They could be in a movie theater and in IMAX and hold up perfectly.
Yeah, they really could. It was it was a breathtaking experience. I was sitting in a room with thousands of people at BlizzCon in 2019 when they did the first cinematic reveal,
Mhm.
and it was a moment. Like there were just audible gasps in certain parts where people were just like, "Oh my god." Oh, it was amazing. It was fantastic. It was probably one of the best things. They've got BlizzCon coming this year again. I don't know what they're going to be showing. I really don't, because
Mhm.
it feels like everything that they've been working on is either too far out or just came out. So I have
Mhm.
no clue what BlizzCon 2023 is going to even entail. But this game it's designed to give everyone who like there's 5 different classes.
Mhm.
You've got Sork, you've got Barb, you've got a barbarian, you've got a
Sork means
sorceress,
sorcerer,
uh,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
rogue, necromancer, and a druid, which is it's a healthy mix from all of the old games.
Mhm.
Like there was a warrior in the first one, there wasn't a barbarian until the second one, but there was a druid in the second one when there was a sorceress in the first one. So they've gone back to the well and taken a look at some of the different classes. And if you've played Diablo 3, you're still going to have a fair amount of options for you to be able to enjoy the game. Like the Crusader's not in there, the Monk's not in there, but you can play a rogue, and you can play a rogue that is a melee build. So it
Mhm.
will feel like a monk, and you'll be able to still kind of have fun. So even if you're going into like Diablo from Diablo 3 to Diablo 4, you're still going to be able to find a play style that will accommodate you, because the skill trees are just so robust that it's amazing that they've been able to balance it. I honestly I don't know how they managed to balance it, but you can really play around with it, and you're not punished by not going the cookie cutter build. You don't even have to worry about cookie cutter builds until really like the end game. Like if you're just leveling and stuff, you're going to have a long road ahead,
Mhm.
and you can just freely enjoy. Just pick whatever you think sounds cool, play around with it. If you don't, you can refund it for a certain amount of gold, which is easy to come by. And you
Mhm.
can really just kind of enjoy yourself, like really immerse yourself in playing around with different things. See what looks cool, see what feels good, see what hits hard, and mess around with that. And you can do it solo, you can do it with friends. It doesn't matter.
I think, while it might be daunting to some to say, nobody should be too nervous about it, but this world is huge. This
Biggest
world
world,
is massive.
yeah. I'm
Um, Go ahead.
hours I'm hours into it, and I haven't even like gone into Act 2 yet. I'm still in Act 1. I'm in like I think I'm 27 out of 100, and I haven't even wanted to go into like other acts right now, because it's just
Mhm.
there's so many little side quests, there's so many little dungeons you can go into, and
Mhm.
there's point and purpose to each of them. and you're going to have fun in them. That's the other thing is just when you go into there, it is just more Diablo. So you're running around the open world, but then you go and do a dungeon that gets you a specific aspect or a different ability or different gear and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. I feel like I could live in Act One forever and not need to explore the rest of the world or the story and still have a really good time, which is saying a lot because it's like I really should be pushing forward at this point.
Couple things that I want to point out also is that they do a really good job of making the world interesting, despite the color palette being pretty mundane, by
Mhm.
design, right? It's like gothic monster
Yeah,
horror, right? Like they wanted to be like
three.
that.
Yeah, three was really colorful. It was a lot of people were like kind of not really happy with it.
Hmm.
They want more of like the muted tones. They want more of that kind of. They want you to feel like the world is desolate because that is the world of Diablo.
I mean, it was destroyed by the previous games for sure. But one of the things that was the premise, and then uh, one of the things that's cool is like as you explore the world of Diablo with whatever character you're using, you can unlock little shrines that uh, can do stat boosts to your other characters if you're using multiple characters, like the shrines of Lilith and such, which is
Yep.
a great way to encourage exploring the world. Also, a great way to let you not feel like you're starting from complete scratch if you put in time,
Yeah.
which is cool. I really love that there are events that you can opt into or out of as you explore the world. Like you can see an event, and if you want to jump in there and fight a world boss or some special enemy or battle waves or something, you can, or you can just skip through and keep going on whatever quests you're doing. And there are hundreds of quests, and it's all big and small, and then the point of the quest isn't really to complete the quest so much as it is to take you across the world so you can fight monsters along the way,
Yeah.
and that's really fun. And if you're there for the story, goodness knows there's story, but I mean, you have it in our notes, 120 plus dungeons to explore, means that if you're not there for the live service end game grind min max element, you're still having fun. If you
Yeah.
are there for that much, there is for you. But for me as a casual, this is a game that I don't anticipate min maxing everything regularly. But I can
Mhm.
play next to you and Kevin and Joe and enjoy the experience just fine thanks to level scaling in a great way. Like hometown broke it down for us last night when we were playing. You know, you guys were higher level than me, but if I did 1% damage, it did 1% damage on your screen as well.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a great way. The math in that is stunning, but it meant we
Y-
could play together regardless.
Yeah. The no gamer left behind mentality that Blizzard has moved from World of Warcraft when they introduced level scaling. It's been in games before. It's been in games a lot, but it's nice to know that yes, I may be further along in the story than you, but there's nothing preventing me from being able to have my character jump in with your character and not just completely decimate everything that you're trying to fight. It gives you that sense of like you're impactful regardless of the level, and you're not going to feel like other people have so much power that there's no way for you to even get an opportunity to really even have fun. Which
Right.
again, it's insane that they've been able to do this because not only is it cross play, like you can play with your friends across any of the consoles, but it's also cross progression. So like we were
Mhm.
talking about, if you do play this on your Xbox, but say you have like a PC and you want to be able to jump on your PC from time to time, or you upgrade your system and you want to be able to do that, all of your, because this was a big issue with Diablo 3. Like Diablo 3, my characters on Diablo 3 on my Switch are not the same characters on my PC version of Diablo 3, which are not the same characters that are on my Xbox version of
Mm.
Diablo 3. And that always felt really bad because it's like I would love to grind out some greater rifts in Diablo 3 on my Switch with the characters that I have on my PC because I've just got so many hours in there. This is the first time that they've been able to have the cross progression, and it's so nice because you really do feel like you can actively work on characters that you want to go hunting for loot for,
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter what platform you're playing on. You can pick it up on any of the platforms. You'll be able to grab your character and actually have meaningful progress instead of like, well, I'm going to be on a plane trip and I want to play Diablo, so I'll take my Switch and it won't be one of my main characters, but at least I'll get to, be in that world and have some fun and stuff like that. It's like, nope, you get your character, probably not on the Switch. You can have to be like a Steam Deck, Steam Deck.
Mhm.
Um, but the fact that you can actually do that now, such a game changer when it comes to Diablo, because the whole point is continuing to invest in your characters.
Right. I love what they've done here, uh, to let players just enjoy the game. They're not
Yeah.
making them work to enjoy the game. And that is something that I think when developers put the time in, it really pays off. It shows. We mentioned Street Fighter earlier. Street Fighter does the same thing.
Yep.
They put in the work so that you don't have to, so you can just enjoy the game how you want to play when you want to play. And I would argue, um, unintentional, unrelated, but that is Xbox's philosophy. Play where you
Mhm.
want, with who you want, when you want, on whatever device you want.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I like that. I think it lends itself very well.
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to Blizzard as well because pretty darn smooth launch, right? Like
Yeah.
problems were nixed within 6 hours. Anyone that had them, and there weren't many. Now we were playing with the Ultimate Edition version, so we're playing in early access, but the game is out. It's just out for people that wanted to spend money. Which
Yeah.
so I don't like it. I don't like the way they're calling it early access. Like, no, it's just access for people that wanted to spend more. Mind you, I got a review code, and that's how I played. I think your friend gifted you a copy for this one, so we were
Yeah.
fortunate. We were both privileged
I
in
was
our approach.
full disclosure. I did not have to pay for the game. I bought the collector's edition though. So
Oh,
I've
okay.
got like $120 box of candles and art and stuff coming to me at some point. It hasn't
Mm-hmm.
shipped yet, but it's supposed to be here before the launch. So I was already willing to spend a ton of money on this game. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
no question in my mind I was not going to play this game. So
Nice.
if you're hearing me wax poetic about Diablo, it's because I've got like 30 years of love for this franchise, not because I got a free code.
Well, let me ask you this before I ask you to kick in on the seasons and battle pass approach. Um, I am very happy. Like I'm liking as a non-Diablo fan, I'm enjoying it and I'm going to go back and play more and I'm excited when we log on to play more. I don't care whose
Yeah.
world we're in. It doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. I'm enjoying this game.
Yeah.
So that's coming from the guy that didn't really play much Diablo. I beat 3 and I was like whatever. I'm
Mm.
loving this. Are you loving this?
Oh, I'm loving it. It's like Mickey D's all the way, man. It is this is the Diablo that I wanted after 2.
Okay.
And I got 3. I absolutely love 3. I've spent a ton of time in 3.
Mhm.
4 harkens back to that 90s, early 2000s, like really gritty, kind of like visceral gore that it felt like it kind of went away, and it felt
Mhm.
like it kind of lost itself with 3. And I think that's because they wanted 3 to be something that they could market a little bit more.
Mhm.
But if you're a diehard Diablo fan, you're already in on this and you should be loving it. And I haven't heard anyone that loves Diablo say anything bad about this game. I have not heard a single peep from anyone that's been like, I don't really like it. It's like, no, this is
Mhm.
everything that we want. And I'm glad because we've got seasons like we normally do. Diablo's been doing seasons for since 3. Diablo 4 will have post-launch seasons that they'll be able to go into to participate in. Very similar to 3, where they're going to have a set number of skills, or not skills, gear that you can get, like cosmetics and gear and stuff.
Mhm.
They're going to have like different mysteries as well as challenges, like they usually do, for you to be able to progress through them, and things that you can do to level up your experience in the season. And they're also going to have a battle pass system, which is going to help fund the future creation, hopefully to bring more classes in. Because I know a lot of folks, like Joe was talking about, wanting to have the Crusader back in. I know some friends would love to have the Monk brought back. And I think that they plan on doing that. I would love to see the Paladin come back. I think Paladin's really fun. So I'm hoping that with the Battle Pass, if people are enjoying the content, they'll be able to play through the Battle Pass. They'll have their different tiers, but it's going to be designed around giving you free tiers, paid tiers. The free tiers obviously probably not going to have as good of rewards or cosmetics as the paid tier, but you can progress through that and enjoy yourself. If you purchase the tiers though, that's not going to it's not going to really impact like your seasonal progress, because usually like when seasons come out, there is like a die hard grind to get to the top of the seasonal ladder, like at the
Mhm.
beginning, both on hardcore and softcore.
Mhm.
So like
True.
when that kicks out, like it's going to be a really interesting, like they've already got a contest going right now. So whoever is hitting level 100 first is going to get their name etched into a statue. And I think there's no, I can't remember how many names are supposed to be able to get in there, but this was like already they were planning on this. They know like
Mhm.
what the community does when it comes to Diablo. So
Right.
there's a mad rush right now for people to get to 100. I haven't even gotten a chance to check in to see whether or not that's actually been accomplished or not, but it's going to take a long
No,
time.
it'd take too long. Yeah, based on what Ain said, it would take well over 4 days of continuous play in
Yeah.
hardcore mode where you cannot die, and that would mean you don't sleep, and,
Yeah.
you make mistakes as that happens, so,
It's
yeah.
true. Fantastic game though. God, guys, if you love ARPGs, if you've ever played Torchlight, if you've ever played Path of Exile, you're gonna love this. Wilson. So many games have been built off of the foundation that Diablo started, and this is probably one of the best Diablo games they've ever made.
We are in agreement with critics then, VGC 5 out of 5, Windows Central 5 out of 5, Season Gaming 9.5. I thought they gave it a 10.
They did for
IGN
Zelda.
9. Was it Zelda? Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay. GameSpot 8, Push Start 9, Metacritic sitting at 88, OpenCritic 89. Pretty darn impressive, and
yeah,
I'm really happy for players there. So definitely two great games. Both of them you should check out for sure. Guys, before we go into our Xbox showcase thoughts, because we're less than a week out at the time of recording, we're about a week out on the time of recording, I should say, uh, from the Xbox showcase. Just want to point you guys. I just interviewed the Star Trek Resurgence writers, and they are very steeped into writing for Star Trek comic books, screenwrites, everything. That was really fun. I think Trek fans are going to have a blast with that one. Check that one out. And if you're keen to support the show, like, share, subscribe, rate on iTunes. If you're willing to drop a tip in the tip jar, go for it. All right, Mr. Logan, we've got a lot of questions about what our expectations are for the Xbox showcase. PlayStation, of course, coming off of their big shindig, which I still thought was a good showcase. I know some people found ways to be disappointed, but I left with 8 games that I'm excited about from that PlayStation showcase. I think if anybody leaves with 3 games from a showcase, you did well. At least that's my take on it. But certainly Xbox, the door has been opened for them to perform, and you were very wise and went back to looked at last year's showcase before you talked about this one, which is not something that I have done, but I have noted that in the entirety of the Xbox Series S and X generations, they've not had a bad showcase. They've
yeah,
had solid to great showcases through and through. Uh, and yet I don't know that it's always mattered or paid dividends. But nonetheless, the door is open here for Xbox to do well. Uh, what are you thinking? Like, what's on your mind right now that we're a little over a
oh
week
man,
out and Summer Game Fest is in there as well? Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
Dude, I'll be honest, I'm excited for this showcase, because after going back, because I remember 2021's pretty well. We got a lot of announcements for a lot of IP that we didn't think we were gonna, like, it was gonna come anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And going back and watching the 2022 one, I was writing down like a list of every single game. We
Mm-hmm.
had 30 plus titles. 26% of those titles have yet to come out. A
That's a
small
good
per
rate.
it's a
74%
yeah,
are made it out.
74%
Yeah.
actually came out, and within the time frame. Especially given how hard games are to make, I'm very
Mm-hmm.
impressed that the percentage of games that actually did come out
Right.
came out in the time frame that they expected. The interesting thing that I liked about this was the games that haven't come out, we either know for sure are, or we have no clue like when they're coming out. There's not like any kind of ambiguity between like, well, it was gonna come out, but it's coming out like in July or August or
Mhm.
September of 20. It's like, no, Silk Song has no date, but it is
They yeah.
coming
We've gotten
coming day one to Game
updates.
Pass.
We've gotten updates on the ones that didn't come out though, right?
Yes,
Because even Stalker 2 came out and said like, "Hey, this is what's going
yeah.
on."
There was a little bit of a news about that too. Apparently, they had been hacked,
Mhm.
and a lot of assets are being leaked out there.
Mhm.
And they wanted to preface people and say like, "Hey, please don't judge the game based on the pre-release stuff because it's not ready."
Right.
So, but it was nice to kind of see they're still working hard on that. But I wanted to kind of shoot through some of the lists of games that we got last year that were announced and kind of
Mhm.
point out some of the ones that I think were so first off, high level. My main takeaway from last year's showcase was everything they showed had gameplay,
Mhm.
and except for a couple games. I think like Arc 2 was the only thing
Mhm.
in
Vin
our
Diesel.
history. Yeah, Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel was the gameplay. Um, and
Don't support Arc. That is a they are not a good they are not respectful. Their developers are sleazy. They don't treat their customer base bad. They did a lot of mess with Arc 1 and Arc 2.
yeah,
Uh, I do not have respect for them. It's very rare that I'm anti game developer.
yeah.
Arcs I'm not a fan of.
Atlas was basically Arc Primal reskinned.
Hmm.
You could find the Arc Primal menus in Atlas when it launched. So but to kind of go through like the high level of this, the thing that the Xbox showcase reminded me was that they did what I wanted.
Hmm.
They said everything was going to be coming out in the next 12 months.
Hmm.
They said that everything shown was going to be Game Pass, which it
Hmm.
was, and everything that they shown with or had shown with a couple exceptions had gameplay. It wasn't
Hmm.
just trailers. So as long as Xbox does that for this year, which I think they understand that they need to, I think we're in for a really good showcase.
Hmm.
Especially if they and I want them to double down on the 12-month release cycle, because I would much rather know what's coming out in the next year, because by this time next year, I'm going to have another showcase. So I don't really care what's coming out in 2 years. I care about
Hmm.
what's coming out in 1 year. And if 75% of those titles make it in that 12-month time frame, it means that everything was really, really close to launch and
Hmm.
they knew what was going to be hitting and they were ready to show it. So I'm good with this year cadence of content
Hmm.
at the showcase. But Redfall, we got, it was pretty much like the first opener for the game,
Are
and
you
we
going
had
through
some
last year? Okay. All
yeah.
right.
So well, okay. Did you want to touch on anything before I dive into that?
Well, I wanted to note why the door is open for Xbox given
Yeah.
PlayStation's approach, but also address how people are feeling about Xbox right now. And I continue to push back on the idea that Xbox isn't doing well in terms of its games because it's made a lot of really good games in the Series SX
Hmm.
generation. They've done a good job blending generations to not leave people behind. They've done a lot of things with cloud. Flight Sim, Forza 5, Halo Infinite, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Age of Empires, Ghostwire Tokyo, Minecraft Legends, Redfall. All of those have come out in this time period, and with the exception of Redfall, been good to great.
Yeah.
And people are latching onto the Redfall disappointment, and rightfully so. That was their first $70 experience. The marketing showed 60 frames per second. It was deceptive and not okay, and they know that, and they're certainly frustrated by it. We even had news from Jason Schreier and Bloomberg saying, "Hey, the developers knew this was a problem, and we're calling it out."
Yeah.
But that is why people are down on Microsoft and Xbox right now. The caveat with the door being open is you do have a lot of good games and goodwill, but they've all been niche titles. And we know a lot about what's coming for Xbox by way of last year's showcase and what they've kind of talked about in terms of their first party IP that are being built with. So the door is open. And as you go through last year's quickly, mind you, because I want to focus more on this year's, but when you go through that, Logan, uh, they showed a lot of good games, like
Yeah.
good
A lot
games.
of I don't want to go through the whole list because there's a lot of stuff that won't really matter. But like we got Redfall, they showed off Silk Song, which is day one Game Pass, still no date.
Mhm.
Plague Tale Requiem came out day one Game Pass. We got
Mhm.
gameplay there. Forza Motorsport was shown. It's going to be day one Game Pass.
Mhm.
There, I haven't seen. Well, like I'm expecting a launch date this year for that because it's supposed to have been out spring. Well, spring ends at the end of
Talking about
June
Forza?
for Motorsport.
Yeah, I would imagine we get a launch date in this showcase. I would imagine
Yeah.
they address frame rate for both Starfield and Forza.
Yep.
Um, and certainly I think it's coming this holiday. Like
Oh,
I
you
think
think it's coming this holiday?
Forza?
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think they're shadow dropping it.
Forza?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know, man. That's an
dude.
interesting prediction. The reason being Sims, not my jam, but there is a
Yeah.
following.
Yeah, well, I mean, they said last year later than it's spring time window for 2023. Summer starts at the end of June, technically. And if you're
Mm.
looking at like the time frames, like this is the 11th, they got a couple weeks in that time frame for it to drop. They could say like, "Hey, Motorsport is out now." And
Mm.
granted, we haven't seen rumblings or heard any rumors about it, so it may not be like a shadow drop, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's ready and they're just waiting for the showcase to announce like the actual draw because they want to do the Hi-Fi Rush did really, really well with that shadow drop.
Hmm.
Wouldn't be surprised if people are like, hey, Forza Motorsport's out now. Go play it. You can download it right now.
I think it's an apples and oranges comparison, but I like your prediction. I like it because it's
I'm the
fun and
optimist though.
possible. Yeah. But I think that's when they want to build a marketing thing and they want to sell boxes. I think Forza Motorsport is a
I
box
could see
seller.
that. I could see that.
Hi-Fi Rush is not going to sell a box, though it should be on the box of a Series. Hi-Fi Rush and Grounded need to be on the box of a Series S.
Yeah, they really do.
All right.
Fantastic. So pushing through, like Microsoft got some stuff. Overwatch got the hero reveal, which is really big, even though the game hasn't done nearly as
Flight
well.
Sim. It said Microsoft Flight Sim.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aura History Untold was one that is like it's a 4X strategy game, which is very, very niche for a lot of gamers, but we haven't gotten anything about that. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
we're going to see it at this showcase. We got news from the Elder Scrolls Online. We've got Fallout 76 and the Hot Wheels expansion for Forza Horizon 5. All
Mm-hmm.
of those came out. All of those really good. Art 2, no release date, don't care. Scorn was out, smaller, really good title. Flintlock, something that I checked Flintlock's Twitter last night. They've been
Mm-hmm.
posting content on their Twitter every
Mm-hmm.
week on the dot. Like
Mm-hmm.
they're consistent. They're continuously putting out information about that game. I'm still excited for that game in a world where Forspoken was frowned upon because of the
Mm-hmm.
dialogue and the very intricate magic system, which I think was still a really good thing. I think Square Enix did a good job with that game.
Mm-hmm.
But Flintlock is kind of where I'm looking, and that's going to be day one Game Pass. I want an update on that.
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft Legends came out this year, dude. Fantastic game.
Great game. Yep.
Benedict Fox, As Dusk Falls, Naraka Blade Point, Pentiment, Grounded, Erebin Shadow Legacy still out there. We're still not sure what's going on with that. The Necro reveal for Diablo, Sea of Thieves, Captaincy, Ravenlock, which you played through day one
Mm-hmm.
Game Pass,
Loved
made
it.
it out. Persona series out. It was fantastic. I would be curious to know what's going on with the new experience with Hideo Kojima because we know that it's not going to be Metal Gear, so we know that, and it's probably not going to be Death Stranding 2 because I think we're probably going to hear more about Death Stranding 2 at the Summer Games Fest.
Mm-hmm.
So
Why do he and Keely know each other?
I think they
They
do.
they might
They
they might
might. I
maybe.
heard rumors that
Yeah.
they talk, but
Yeah.
probably nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to know what the Hideo Kojima thing is going to be and if we'll hear more about that. And then
Mm-hmm.
of course Starfield, which we already know Starfield coming out in September. We know that it's going to be have its own little showcase and stuff. But overall, dude, like man, freaking
It was good.
2022 Xbox showcase killed it. Absolutely
Yeah.
killed it. And a lot of those games that came out, amazing games.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing games.
It's too easy for gamers to forget that kind of stuff too. That's the
Yeah.
part that bums me out is like
Yeah.
that was a great showcase and the majority 74% of those games came out and quite a few of the ones you mentioned are well reviewed. Like As
Yeah.
Dust Falls, not for me. I think
Yeah.
they should have focused on Forza's expansion a bit more at the time, but still a good game in its own right. A lot of people loved that game, right? A lot
Really
of people
well
love those
reviewed.
kind of
Yeah.
games. Yeah, we just launched with Benedict Fox, interviewed that dev. That was cool. Like there's a lot of games in there that are just good to great. And as Game Pass gamers, as Xbox gamers, you got a lot in that showcase that you can just play and love and enjoy.
Yeah.
So there's if we get a similar lineup this year, I think we'll be happy. I want to read John Wall's statement. John Wall,
Mm.
he's a patron of XCP. He wrote it over on Twitter. He said, "This feels like a bit of a crossroads for Xbox. I don't think the wait for what's coming will fly anymore. I'm expecting more concrete info, gameplay, release dates, at least windows, and updates in long development games." So it's funny to read it because we all know what John means. John is
Yeah.
talking about Xbox first party. And he's right. The wait for what's coming from Xbox first party is not likely to fly. That is where the sentiment with Xbox continues. Despite the fact that I stand by, Xbox has had a good release window set, for the Series SX, whether it's first party or not. They've done right by Game Pass gamers for sure. I don't think a Game Pass gamer can complain about the quality of games they're getting in. I mean, when you go back to, what was it, Requiem, day one Game Pass, it's a big game,
Yeah.
right? Atomic Heart, High on Life, day one big games. Admittedly, that they had controversies outside of the gaming element, which kept
I
us
know.
from market. It kept us from marketing and talking about it in the same way. But those are big games that
Yeah.
came. Scorn was a big deal for a lot of people, and then you've got your mainstays like Grounded, Sea of Thieves, etc. There's a lot to enjoy as an Xbox gamer here, but he's right. The wait for what's coming won't serve anymore. And we've seen, this is where it's an obvious prediction, but like Microsoft is teasing Fable with its glitter leading
I
to
know.
treasure.
God, that was
You
so
know,
good.
on
Oh,
Xbox main socials, they've got glitter, which is a part of Fable, leading you to something. Now, I'm not a Fable guy. I never got into Fable. I missed it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But am I excited by a playground built Fable? Yes. So expect that is there. But when you've got all the studios on display, from Machine Games to id to uh, Playground Games, you've got, who's doing what with indie, who's doing what with Avowed, what's going on at the many acquired studios that are now first party. There's a lot that they can and will showcase here, and I'm in agreement. We can't do the just keep waiting
Mm.
thing, but I also think give me the 12-month approach as well. Reword it if you need to, because it got you in some trouble here and there, which is dumb. Anyone that's mad about that needs to
Yeah.
hush. Like, you're being silly.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, don't hold gamer, because they had like little things like, hey, these are targeted windows. Like,
mhm.
be a little mature, recognize that it's like, yeah,
Game
it's
development's
marketing.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it cut them some slack. I mean, poor Last of Us fans are suffering over there with factions not being a thing and whatnot.
I
But that
know.
happens. That
Yeah.
happens in game development. Like, don't be petty and silly like Xbox lied. No, hush. Development's hard. And do you want the best game? Or do you want Redfall? And Redfall is their misstep, and they rightfully are being punished for it in Mindshare. But I expect Fable to be on display for sure. Obviously, Starfield has its own showcase. Those are two big franchises. We'll see Forza. That's three Xbox first parties that you can take to the bank are going to be there. That's
Yeah.
big. That's big.
Yep. Yeah. I think Avowed is going to uh make a showing. I think we'll get more information about Avowed.
Hmm.
I I want to know more about that game, but I also don't want to know more about that game. Like, I'm sold on the premise, but I don't want to get hyped for it too early.
Hmm.
It's great to see like trailers and stuff kind of showcase. It's like Outer Worlds 2. Like, I know Outer Worlds 2 is far from coming out.
Hmm.
But I loved seeing the slap together trailer that they did for that. It was great. Um I really
They don't need Avowed right now. I don't think. If you've got Fable and Starfield, those are two big, meaty RPG games.
yeah.
Avowed can take its time, I would think. I would think.
You would want to have something for the Elder Scrolls folks. So I'm expecting a new expansion announcement with late December or early 2024
Hmm.
launch date,
Hmm.
to because I mean that team's been working on content stuff. So uh I'm expecting Fallout, I'm expecting Elder Scrolls, I'm expecting Sea of Thieves is kind of like the, hey, here's what we're doing for an update thing.
Right. Here's your live service. We take a Get Grounded in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we're taking care of our customers that are here for it. I
Yep.
think you're going to get that, and rightfully so. Sea of Thieves, don't spend a lot of time on it unless it's huge, because you had your captaincy moment, you had your Pirates of the Caribbean moment.
I think this
I
is going to
don't.
be a huge one.
Okay, huge to you or huge to the casual? Because
That's
captaincy E isn't even that big to the casual.
no. I think it'll be not as big as Pirates of the Caribbean, but I think it'll be right below that.
Peter
Um,
Pan.
maybe I think we're going to finally have like our Flame Heart experience, which has kind of been the antagonist for the game from the get go. I think we're finally going to be wrapping up the Flame Heart storyline,
Mm-hmm.
which for Sea of Thieves fans is huge, but for the wide player base that may not know Sea of Thieves,
Mm-hmm.
probably less so. But
Right.
I'm expecting a big cinematic deal with that, and I'm expecting a pretty big season because it's been sparse as far as content. Like they've been
Mm-hmm.
holding back for a while, and I think that's because of the showcase. But I
Okay.
think we're going to get news on Everwild too.
Interesting. So you expect Everwild to be there then?
Yeah, I
Okay.
expect Everwild to be there. We know Fable is going to be there. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know what's going on with id. They've been
Yeah.
quiet.
It
Like
has been quiet.
Doom, Wolfenstein, like what's going on there? I would love to see what they're working on. And you know what? I'll be perfectly honest. I kind of hope that it's neither Wolfenstein or
Mm-hmm.
Doom. Actually, I kind of want them to do something
I
brand
agree.
new.
Actually, id and Machine Games, and I think Machine Games, are they on indie, or am I making that up? You don't seem
Mm,
confident even in just thinking about it. So whatever id and Machine Games are doing with id Tech,
I don't
I
think
am
so.
excited for it. We talked in our Xbox wrap up one, but where we talked about Game Pass recommendations. We talked about Rage 2, which is hit and miss for a lot of people, but the gunplay is bar none amazing.
Yeah,
If you're giving me the team that makes the gunplay for Rage, Doom, and Wolfenstein creating something new, I'm there for it. I'm
yeah,
excited for it. So yeah, I'm interested to know what they're doing, but I don't want to know if it's more than 2 years out, and that's true of anything. And
yeah,
a sizzle reel is fine, but don't give me a fully like a 2 minute or a minute long trailer of a game that's more than 2 years out. I don't
yeah,
need that. Xbox doesn't need that. Right now, it should be short to medium term focus. We
yep,
know a lot about their pantheon. Don't show me Perfect Dark. You ain't got nothing to say.
yep.
Don't show me, you know, love for a friend like Avowed. I don't want to see Avowed unless it's 2 years or less away. And I don't expect that it is.
Yeah, I don't even know if I want to. So Phil teased that he'd been playing builds of Avowed, which doesn't mean the game's ready. It just means that the
Right.
game is in a state where it's playable for friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, it's like, okay, so we're talking at least 18 to 24 months for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting Avowed next showcase
Yep.
2024. But
Yep.
I mean, honestly, 2 years is still a long time. But yeah, I don't want them to push any further beyond that, because otherwise you start getting into that Perfect Dark territory. You start getting into that Metroid Prime 4 territory. And it's like, okay,
And
are these,
Xbox is not Nintendo.
yeah,
They can't do it. They
they
can't do
can't,
that right now.
you do not have Breath of the Wild to sit on to be able to,
Mhm.
to afford that kind of
Yeah.
positive feedback.
And I will go back to, they've put out great games in this generation,
Yeah.
but those great games aren't moving boxes in the same way. And part of that's due to their strategy. You don't need the box. Okay.
Yeah.
But Starfield's going to sell some boxes. Forza's going to sell some boxes. Um, the question is, okay, do we see Hellblade? Because Hellblade 2 is going to sell boxes. You don't open up that trailer in the Game Awards and not have people still thinking about it. That is one of the best
And
trailers ever.
and we saw them at GDC too. They
In
so
freaking credible.
we know that they're like we know that they're coming. So
Right.
I would expect a year window for Hellblade.
Hellblade 2 to me is Q1 or 2 of 2024. That's what I
Yeah,
think. I think they give
I agree.
Starfield and Forza their holiday 2023. Hellblade's early to it's first half of 2024.
Hmm.
And maybe you've got a smaller game like Everwild or something. I don't know. I'm guessing on Everwild, but like you need a balance between your Pentiments, your hi-fi rushes, and your big Starfields,
Mhm.
right? You need a balance between them in terms of release cadence. Um, so, I do think you're going to get one more Xbox exclusive this holiday, or like between now and the end of the year. Forza, you've got, oh my gosh, Starfield. You got one more in there, I
Mm.
think. And I think it's small, like a smaller thing, and then you got your expansions to your various live service stuff.
I could see that.
Yeah,
I
I
still,
also
I,
go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, I still feel like Forza is going to be dropping in June,
Mm-hmm.
and I
I
think
don't,
that
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
know, I know it feels weird because there's
I don't think
been
it's.
nothing, but it's a feeling, man. It's like I feel like they've been quiet on purpose for it.
But I think you got to build that. You got to build
I
Forza.
don't know, man. I don't know. Dude, I was watching this. I was watching the showcase last night. They did like 10 minutes of Forza Motorsport, man. Like they went into it. It was deep.
But this is the audience. The audience for Forza Motorsport is not the same audience as the pick up and play for Horizon. So you want to talk to those people that are playing GT7, talk to the sim community, I would think.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey,
I, I see the logic and I don't disagree, but the optimist in me wants to say like they're ready. They're just being mum on it because they know it's going to be a big drop.
maybe I'm not confident after how they botched Redfall.
Well, that's the thing
And I'm
is
not
we had lots of lead up to Redfall,
right.
and,
And
and
they
that's what got
didn't.
it in trouble.
Fair point. Good counterpoint. I do want to say that we are addressing Ellery. Their question was about how many Xbox exclusives are shown, over under 2.5 exclusive shown. No, you're going to get more, but I don't know how betting and over under works. Neither does Logan. We looked it up before the show. We don't
Yeah, we
understand
tried.
it. We're
We
real dumb.
tried. It scares
Uh,
me.
yeah, I
I don't
don't.
want to know how to understand that.
Yeah, but Ellery, I think we're addressing your question. And then Todd Oxter wrote in his expectations are a Starfield custom controller for Series X, which I think we've seen a lot of leaks for, and
Oh,
I like it.
they're
Um,
legit.
they
That
are legit.
controller is hot.
Yeah, I agree. Indiana Jones trailer shown. He says everything shown will be Game Pass. Hopefully,
Yep,
interesting. I think the
I
majority,
agree.
maybe not everything, um,
You'll
because
get
like the
yeah.
majority of everything the year before was saved for like Diablo and such.
Yeah, Overwatch and Diablo weren't on Game Pass. There were a few other ones and stuff that were like PC Game Pass, but anything that wasn't Game Pass was console exclusive.
Mhm. And then the big one in his predictions is the Game Pass Family Plan launches worldwide in July. Game Pass only is $19.99. Game Pass Ultimate at $24.99. This is not a realm that I feel qualified to talk about, but I know
Mm.
matters to a lot of people. But I'm the only gamer in my household, and I'm willing to spend my hard-earned dollar on Game Pass because I explore games. But I know a lot of people are really needing this functionality. So I defer to their arguments and I hope they get what they want, but I don't feel qualified to discuss it past that. Do you?
I don't have a reason to talk about needing family, but knowing that you cannot play on like you can set up you can have your home console be the one that someone else is playing on, and
Mm-hmm.
you can jump on another console as a guest and play games from Game Pass at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But you really like you don't get to be able you don't get to play different games on different consoles on Game Pass without having multiple subscriptions. So even if you have two gamers in the same household
Mm-hmm.
with that want to play like a bunch of my friends, married couples, they play games together and they want to play different games together. And they
Mm-hmm.
each have to have their own Game Pass Ultimate. They each have to have or their own Game Pass or Gold Live. Like them having to pay for two copies of Game Pass Ultimate to be able to get the full access for that is
Mm-hmm.
just it would be it doesn't even make sense for
It's
them to want
unintuitive.
to not pick up. Like family is important even if it's just two people because it's going to save you money.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hoping that they do this. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I think this is a press release. I don't think that this is something that you want to like. Gone are the days of the business decisions outside of console launches and games 4 showcases. Because I think if you do anything beside that, it's going to be not as well received.
I could see an embedded sizzle moment, like they show some family friendly games and then they like sizzle reel in the new get it on the family plan, da, 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 and then they move on to the next game. I could see
Yeah.
that. But you're right. Yeah, you don't have the executive walking out there talking about that. That should not happen.
Yeah.
Games should speak for themselves.
Yeah, we no more of the days where they're like, and these are the numbers that we had for the last quarter, and they were fantastic.
Right.
So
Anubis wrote in saying they hope they see Fable, Cocoon, Liza P, Crime Boss. I am interested in Crime Boss also, but their PR has been real sketchy with me. Not like in a weird, not like doing anything to me, but like trying to get a hold of and talk to, despite the game being out on PC. There's a weirdness to that. I'm interested in Crime Boss, but it's odd.
I don't remember this one.
This is the one with like Chuck Norris and Danny Glover. It's out on PC at the game store, which doesn't get any attention ever.
No,
but like,
that's
all right,
funny.
what is going on with that? I'm curious as well. Indiana Jones, Anubis is expecting. Aliens Dark Descent, interested myself. And they mentioned Compulsion's game. Yeah, I'm curious what's going on with Compulsion because people really like that studio and they've done some good stuff. You don't seem thrilled. I know ILP is connected to them.
I don't want to know anything about them until it's ready. Like if they're still working on something cool, stay in the dark. That's
Okay.
fine. I don't need to know until it's a year out.
Did you play We Happy Few?
I played a little bit of it.
Like your reaction surprises me, I guess.
Oh no, it's more like the wanting to know what's going on with Compulsion. Like I don't want to know. If they're doing something cool, then I think that I want to know about it when it's a year out. But otherwise, like I'm comfortable giving them space. I don't want to know. Like I'm looking forward to what they come out with, but I'm okay with them being mum on the topic, if that makes sense. So nothing to do with the quality of their games. I think they make fantastic games.
My last thought before we close out here, Logan. That's right. Shake that thing right there. There it is. There it is, everybody. Gift that. My last thought. Halo doesn't need to be there unless you've got Battle Royale. You can show a sizzle reel for Season 4. Don't mention Infinite one bit unless you've got something truly new. Don't even mention it. Sizzle reel it next to Sea of Thieves, Grounded, your live service stuff, Forza 5. Do that. But do not talk about Halo unless you got something new. That's my last thought.
I don't know if Halo is even ready to talk about anything, if I'm being honest.
I don't either. I'm not pretending like I do.
Yeah.
That's my statement.
Yeah. I think I'm okay with Halo not showing something off this. What I will say is Anubis had talked about Compulsion games. I wouldn't mind knowing what's going on with ye old Gears franchise.
Oh, just thinking that. I want to know what's going on with Gears if it's close, because the idea of any Gears remake, remaster, or 6 in Unreal Engine 5, anything Unreal Engine. I love Unreal 5.
Like the Matrix demo was amazing. I love what they've been putting out as far as like the hey, this is what we're playing around with kind of thing, like the trailers and stuff like that. Like even if it is something that is like maybe 2 years out and they're like, all right, we're comfortable letting you guys know what the project is that we're working on and what we like. I would love to have like 3 minutes of the devs talking to the audience about what they want to do with the next Gear games, and then a little bit of early stuff. Then I'm okay with that, because it's kind of setting people up for like, okay, this is what they've been working on for so long. We know that they've been working on Unreal Engine 5. We know how good they are with Unreal Engine 4, looking at Gears 5. So I want to know, I feel like they have to go with Gears, but I would be very interested if they did a new IP. I think it's risky. I don't think they'll do it, but
I don't think it's risky. Gears doesn't move the needle. It doesn't. I love Gears. Gears is my jam, but Gears does not move the needle for Xbox anymore. Well, who's buying an Xbox for Gears?
There's your hot take right there.
I don't think it's a hot take at all. I don't think people are buying Xboxes for Gears. And I'm the guy with the 1X Gears 5 edition.
I was going to say, like,
Gears, dude, I love Gears of War.
They make consoles for
you
Gears.
You had an entire generation of Xbox that was built around Gears being a pillar franchise and it didn't move units. I love Gears. I hope it's there. I want it there. Luke Lohr loves Gears of War. I
Mm-hmm.
loved Gears 5.
Luke
So
Lohr
much
does
time.
not think Gears moves the needle.
I don't think it moves the needle. I
the
think
idle sloth quote?
I'm not there's say it idle. Like I do not think it moves it. I want it there, but I don't think people are buying an Xbox for Gears anymore.
Wow.
I just
Well,
don't.
not anymore. Not anymore, because we haven't seen anything since the Xbox One generation, and even then, it was like it's great, but that's all
If
we
you
get.
if you put out Gears 6 and it is more Gears of War, it's not moving the needle. If you've changed the formula drastically, we'll talk.
It's
But
not
you've
Gears at
had
that point.
right. I'm saying that the IP, then we're different. Then it's different, right?
Yeah.
If you do a first-person shooter horror game where you're special forces, you're part of the Onyx Guard, doing something and trying to survive, heck yeah, I'm there. Like that'll move the needle because people will be excited. But if you say Gears of War 6 and it's more Gears, you're playing as Kate, you're playing as one of the others, depending on your choice in Gears 5. Um, and it's more Gears, cool. It'll look better, sound better. Gears has always been a benchmark for your system. But if it's still that third person run and duck gameplay, nobody's getting excited for that by comparison to something fresh and new. I just
Man,
don't think that. But again, you're taking it like, well, I don't know if you're taking it, but like comment, right in the comments, guys. Drop it
I
in YouTube, tweet at us, talk in Discord. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong.
I feel like you're saying Gears is dead.
I'm saying Gears doesn't move the needle. Gears isn't dead. It's probably on hiatus. See, I mean, Rod Ferguson this last week literally talked about how Gears 6, the direction they want to go, and it stopped. They stopped development. They rebooted, and then there's something else happening.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. We had an entire generation with two mainstay Gears games and two spinoffs and a collection. You had Gears 4, Gears 5, you had Gears 1 remastered, you had Gears Pop and Gears Tactics. Like, I was sitting pretty, but
Yeah.
that's 5 Gears franchise games. Did they move the needle? Did they move the needle? I was happy. I don't think they moved the needle.
I think Hive Busters was good. I agree that it wasn't as like bombastic as like Cyberpunk was during that showcase, but I still I didn't think we were going to get there this late into the episode, so I don't want to dwell on it, but man, that is an interesting thought for whether or not we see a future Gears.
Drop your comments, talk to us on Discord, on Twitter, let us know, but I don't think I'm out of the realm there.
That's a take. It's a take. I didn't expect that kind. You're like holding on to this take to the very end here.
I didn't mean to.
All right.
Lastly, my one hope is that we get a superhero something for Xbox.
Please. Yes.
You need it. You need it.
Something superhero. I don't care what it is. It could be. God, it'd be sick. The Coalition did a Ghost Rider game. I would play the hell out of a Ghost Rider game. I know you don't like Ghost Rider as much as I do, but no.
Yeah, not for me.
Right, fine.
Black Panther, Batman.
Okay, here's my hot take. Microsoft buys Ben Studios. They make Days Gone into a Ghost Rider game, and I get the I get the Ghost Rider game I've always wanted. Dickon becomes the next buddy. Ghost Rider.
I hope you get it. Speaking of, we should have gotten a siphon filter at the PlayStation Showcase. All right. I think that's a good place to stop because we've gone long. We hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. Again, I'll point you to an upcoming Star Trek Resurgence interview. I hope you enjoy and check out both Street Fighter and Diablo. Logan, I want you to tell me what's going on with Keelhauled, but I want listeners, if you want to support Keelhauled and Logan and Sea of Thieves, go check out his Patreon and show some love to him there. I didn't plug that in last week's episode, and I meant to. XCP patrons, always appreciated, but you help out Logan by doing Keelhauled if that's something you can do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sea of Thieves, the last week of the mystery, the one that has like the big gold hoarder reward. That's the physical skull with the keys and the gold plated and all that jazz. That's still going. The mystery that they put out, the like escape room esque style, like things that we had that we're working on right now is melting my brain. I've just about given up on it, but they've done a fantastic job with this mystery. It's really rallied a lot of the community together. Also, shout out to Rare. They've got their Pride Month stuff going on all over the studio. They've been wrapping rainbow flags and stuff all over all of the Everwild and Sea of Thieves stuff, which has been fantastic. Love to see them.
We should have mentioned that at the top of the show. Happy Pride Month, guys.
Yeah, happy Pride Month.
Yeah, we love you. We support all of you.
Yes,
everybody.
Love it.
We should have said that. We did not. So.
It's okay. We've got a lot to talk about. And if people are really good fans and they're listening to the very end here, then they know. Like, we love and support them. No room for hate in here. And it's been fantastic. So yeah, Keelhauled's coming out. I've got a new episode with one of the devs that did the big charity game for the soccer match for 24 hours. That's coming out this week. Nice. So really excited to have that conversation get out there, because it was a really fun conversation. Love George. Can't wait to see him again in London later on this month. But that's coming out on Monday, as always. And if you want to get a hold of me, Twitter, CAPT_LOGUN. Or in the Xbox expansion pass. I keep wanting to call it the wrap up, but it's not the wrap up because I'm so defaulting.
Discord.
Yeah, it's the XEP Discord, where you can join the Double Down clan in Diablo 4.
Yeah. Yep. That is a thing I agreed to.
You didn't get a choice. Kev made it, and you got stuck getting roped into it. If you had done what I did, which was make a Keelhauled clan right when the game started, you wouldn't have this problem. So now you have to live with the fact that Kev is in charge of the Double Down clan for XEP.
I feel like he's earned it. Like, and really and truly, we've gotten so much patron support I never expected. I feel like I've got to just accept, and I'm going to be like, again, we're one away from a tier 3. Like it's gonna, like, at some point it'll happen. I'm gonna have to eat one, and Kev's gonna be the one to make it, I bet, because they're not doing them right now.
But the problem is that it's not gonna be the like, if Kev makes it, he's gonna make it like that's relatively healthy. This isn't going to be like the double down.
He'll try to kill me. He'll try to kill me. Don't worry. He'll try to kill me. But at worst case, we'll film it, and I will honor and respect it.
This will be funny.
Listeners, please take a moment at some point, drop a review, go check us out over on YouTube. I do some shorts there that I think are funny. My wife is not always, but I think they're funny. And then, of course, join us in Discord. We have a blast there. So find me on Twitter at InsipidGhost, XEP on all your podcast platforms of choice. Have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care.